What does it mean to be a subject determined by injuries made, harm made onto you, but there seems to be no consequence? What is the matter with Black life? What's its matter, but also what's the problem of Black life that enables it to continuously be policed and then in its policing be corpsed? So I tried to build a work that works a lot on a kind of spiral, like emotional spiral, kind of emotional terror of, okay, what does it mean to exist and always be in anticipation of something terrible potentially happening? It's so dumb, but the moment, if I was to slap you, which I won't do hard, and if I was to do it that way, the moment that I implicate you, and you don't do anything about it, you become part of power too. Rather than an individual, sorry. That's just being mean, you know what I mean? It also becomes clear that it's a fiction. It's not, do you know what I mean? That it's a construction. So when you can illustrate the construction of the dying or of the suffering, what that might provide is a space for me to see actual suffering and not seeing you try to authenticate it. What I like is this opportunity for the viewer to travel with an image or with a relation. So that there's both a detachment and also maybe through that detachment the possibility to be like, oh no, is that really, did that really just happen? And I think I can only do that by way of a long process, what I call kind of like a processual choreography, something that unfolds over time, that doesn't ever pretend that it got it. I'm constantly trying to push away the essentialized narrative told through history of Blackness and what it means to be Black in an anti-Black world. I chose instead to work through a kind of plastic performativity, a kind of to throw this very question of seeing and being seen into question. Like, what are we looking at? What are we seeing? And because my work is often hosted in spaces that would be otherwise considered white spaces in the sense, not in the essential sense, but because of the kind of history of practice. So through the deadening of the work itself, maybe we could arrive at this authentic mark, but it could be only temporary because, of course, the space in which it's hosting this very action is in part responsible for some of the violence. And so the continuous corpsing of form, because at the end of the day, even though I'm giving form to things, I'm critical of form itself. The thing that is trying to make coherent what existence is, something that's supposed to capture it and make it clear and legible. I would rather people sit with the strange feeling and a kind of dissonance, because I allow myself to exist in dissonance, to be fucked up by the conditions of reality. Despite the fact that I use the danse macabre, which is a medieval concept of, it's basically class struggle, like, you know, when we're all dead, we're all equal, right? It was a way to speak against a monarchy. We are all touched by death very differently. Death means something very different for Black people, just very different. And coming together is not, it's not even about togetherness, to be honest with you. It's not. I don't know if that's possible right now. I'm still throwing it into question, but what I can do is I can organize a group of folks, organized in difference, to agree to what Fred Moten said, like, we're in deep shit.
Please. Can we have a little help? Please. Somebody. Aiutami. Please. This book. Just me. Sir. Just me. I come to the hospital. Help me. Just me.